Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video, and today I'm doing a review of the brand new 13th Doctor 13th Doctor TARDIS box, even. Exterior box, of course, not the interior. Yeah, it's one of the first new sort of releases we've had in a while, of releases for like the sort of modern series and the new series and that. I will also be comparing and contrasting it between this box and the other new series box that the only other new series box that I've got in my collection. Which is the 9th/10th Doctor one, which is just over here, which I will sort of, as I say, later on in the video I will be comparing and contrasting. I also have the 13th Doctor here just because, just as a good indicator of height of the box. It's not the biggest box, nor is it actually that sort of wide and, or for lack of a better term, thick of a box. It's a very, very dark blue, sort of darkish blue that's almost grey, to my eye anyway. But I've always really liked the Jodie Whittaker 13th Doctor box, TARDIS box, as opposed to the interior. The interior, it's growing on me over Series 12, I'll be honest, it's growing on me, but as I say, the exterior box I've always liked from Woman Who Fell to Earth. Oh well, from Ghost Monument onwards. Keep forgetting that it technically isn't in Woman Who Fell to Earth, which is a bit weird, but still. The interior, part, if you open both the windows, is just like the original sort of B&M sets that I've also reviewed on the channel. I want to say I've reviewed both the TARDIS boxes, the old TARDIS boxes that I've got in my collection, but also I can't actually remember off the top of my head. Sorry if I'm really scatterbrained in this review. Personal thing is just that my brain's a bit all over the place. I've got a lot of shit happening personally outside of my YouTube channel, which is just a bit annoying. So yeah, that's why this review might not be the best review ever. But yeah, what I mean is, like, in contrast to that of this box, it doesn't have like one of these like card backdrop things, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think this one and the 11th Doctor one TARDIS also has that interior, or that sort of cardboard backdrop of the TARDIS interior. I don't know that for sure 110% because I don't have the 11th Doctor TARDIS, unfortunately, but yeah. If anything, this box, this interior is more, interior of the box, of the action figure toy, collectible, whatever, is more akin to that of the 4th Doctor B&M set, 4th Doctor TARDIS and Sharda box TARDIS, Robot and Sharda TARDISes, where, as I say, it's just empty there. If anything, this box kind of reminds me more of a Hartnell box, as opposed to a new series box, as opposed to this one. This one in particular is very, very wide, which I didn't really think and or realise that until putting them side by side. Also, this one is quite a bit smaller and has a bit more like roof sort of parts to the roof and that. I don't mind either design, I guess. I mean, honestly, I kind of like those two, just the roof more on this one maybe, but I don't mind this one. I don't like it as much, but it's not terrible. I like both the lamps quite a bit for different reasons. The thing is, what is common in both of these designs is that they both have a back plate and or back panel to unscrew, which you'll need a screwdriver for, to put 3 AAA batteries in to then have light sound effects sort of thing. The only major difference being with this one, you have this like little indentation / groove thing to put one of your fingers in to then spin the TARDIS around, like so sort of thing. Whereas the Whittaker box obviously doesn't have that feature, but then again you could argue that this, as time's gone on, people who grew up with this have now grown up, so maybe they just thought that's not a feature that most of the people buying this box would want anymore. I feel like this box probably has more sound effects than this one, which, you know, I don't know why, but yeah. The police public call box sign is pretty much the same, bar the fact that obviously the size of that is just different, because obviously this one's wider, sort of chunkier, bigger sort of box just generally, so everything seems to be enlarged, whether it be that, the lamp, the roof, or the free for public use sort of thing, and then vice versa, in so much as then everything on this box, in particular the new Jodie Whittaker 13th Doctor box, everything's a lot more sort of streamlined, a lot more sort of, for lack of a better term, yeah, streamlined, more, maybe even more elegant if you want to go that far. Although the designer of this box, in particular the prop anyway, did say that he wanted it to be chunkier to be able to withstand and or make it look more realistic, that it could actually take a beating, whether it be in the Time War or just generally flying through the vortex, which in that respect, at least from a TV standpoint, I can kind of see that, and it makes sense, and that, as I say, the difference there is that the police telephone free to use public call box thing, pull to open sign, is black with white text, whereas there it's white with black text, and then also notably the windows are quite different on the boxes. The windows here are sort of silver frames with white and then a bit of like mesh there, as opposed to the blue sort of border with the blue lines and then a bit of mesh there, but it's nowhere near as noticeable on the older 9th, 10th Doctor TARDIS as the mesh is here, which I kind of like. It is kind of weird that they don't have the St. John's ambulance sticker anymore, but yeah, I mean, I do really feel like this is closer probably to a Hartnell box than this version was, although what would be really fascinating to have is to have the sort of Matt Smith Capaldi TARDIS, and or Matt Smith TARDIS in particular, because then that one's kind of like blurs the line between modern and old, even though this one is new, just to confuse you. But yeah, yeah, the keyhole seems to be silver and above the handle as opposed to below the handle, and that one's sort of a grey, sort of copper. What else? This one seems to be a lot more textured and weathered and sort of have a lot more sort of finer detail as opposed to the big chunky one. This one seems to be more weathered, akin to that of the sort of again the other B&M sets. Well, actually, sorry, I keep saying like the other B&M sets. This isn't a B&M set. Sorry. My mistake, an error there has occurred. It's actually a Forbidden Planet release. So yeah, if you want this box, it's from Forbidden Planet. I want to say it's retailing for $19.99. I'm not 100% sure, because it was my mum who pre-ordered all these for me, and then I paid for all of them, because there are also action figures coming out as well as the box. But yeah, there is also the sound effects, which I'll turn on now. And then the lamp kind of just goes like that, which is a nice little thing that it does for quite a while. And then there's also the going in flight as well as dematerializing, and materializing and dematerializing sort of noises. I like doing that bit. But anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, so really, all in all, it's just personal preference as to which one you should buy. I do think that this is a really well-crafted TARDIS box, and I do think, you know, if it is 20 quid, I do think it's worth the money if you have the disposable income and the money at hand. And if you're a big enough, obviously, 13th Doctor fan. If you're so-so on the series, maybe it's a miss, maybe it's not, I'm not sure. But maybe it's also a really good starting point for your collection, I've just thought, of this new era of the show. Because so far, we've only really got this one 13th Doctor figure in 5.5 inch scale, but we've also got a variant of this figure where she's got the pink top and the fanny pack and or bum bag or whatever, which is part of this whole sort of new Forbidden Planet, you know, sort of range, as it were, or wave of figures. But as I say, yeah, if you're a bit cautious because of money reasons or just because you're a cautious person like I am somewhat, then yeah, probably just get this box. I'd recommend getting the box first, and then seeing where you can go from there, really. You know, take it, for lack of a better term, one action figure and one Doctor Who product at a time. Don't be a mental person like I am and get everything. Or you could just get the 13th Doctor figure, but they work really well together, you know. You know, just having her be in her actual box, as it were. Nope, that's not going to work. Okay, that didn't work. Yeah, fantastic. That really didn't work. But yeah, what is weird, the last thing I'll point out is that the telephone box, or the telephone sort of prop is still there on the back of this one. Even though I'm 90% sure that in the actual prop in the show, obviously that's not there anymore. And by that I mean that is still there, but obviously with the new box you can't do this feature. They probably only had this feature because it's obviously Empty Child Doctor dances, obviously, in the Empty Child the Doctor has the phone call from the child, so, which I think is still a really neat feature of this box. But again, I'd recommend getting this box if you're more nostalgic, for lack of a better term, for the RTD Russell T Davies era of the show. But as I say, I'm not really reviewing this one as much as just trying to use this as a comparison to the box, to the new box. But yeah, I really like this box. It's really, as I say, streamlined, really elegant, really sort of, for lack of a better term, simplistic, but in the nicest way possible. It's simplistic, but so effective, I think, this box. And I've now just got more of an appreciation having this plastic version of the 13th Doctor box. More of an appreciation of the box in the show. I think the only time that it's really, really well shot and or seen on film, for me personally, off the top of my head, visually, that I can think of, is in Ghost Monument, when she finally finds the ship and or her Ghost Monument. I'm surprised Jodie didn't also say, oh yes, it's my ship, put hand over the TARDIS and just be like, yes, it's the ship. Because that would give myself and other classic Who fans a shiver down our spines, because obviously, if you recall, William Hartnell used to always refer to the TARDIS as the ship. Although, I do still think the ship, obviously just calling it TARDIS is fine, but also the Ghost Monument, calling it the Ghost Monument is a nice touch as well, and or a nice third name for the TARDIS, for lack of a better term. So yeah, I'd give this TARDIS, I don't know, maybe a 7 or 8 out of 10. I do think it's a really good, as I say, designed box, really nicely textured, so it looks like an actual kind of prop in a weird way, even though it's a plastic sort of replica-y toy type thing, collectible. But yeah, I'd give it a 7 out of 10, out of a 7 out of 10, 7 or an 8 out of 10, 7 or 8 out of 10 of TARDISes. Thanks for watching, comment, rate and subscribe.